Blog Talk Radio.
Que atraen el left, dale, más te vale, te sale, saludando ese campeones en la calle, predicando Cristo y todo lo que él hizo, para que estamos listos para el paraíso, and when the Lord put a life in front of you, you best believe he saw the David inside of you, so grab your hammer like you were Maccabees, baby, most high wanna see if you believe with me, so don't sweat it, you gon' get it, and if you're handicapped, you grab that prosthetic. And those that didn't think you could, that line gonna wish they would. Lion in the jungle, watch me fly. But I stay humble. Like a spirit for the rumble, of your grace for when I stumble. You hold them up, I watch them crumble.
All right, so we're having an unscripted moment already. What's going on? You tuned in to another episode of On The Move Unscripted with me and Mr.
Stout. Do it, buddy.
We have to start the show off unscripted, right? It wouldn't be unscripted if we was to start like perfect or something. Yeah, like we talking and muted and don't even know we muted.
Wow.
Yeah, that's that unscripted stuff. So I know everyone is kind of wondering what's going on with the Steppers event that we was going to do, right? Mm-hmm. So basically, without going into deep detail, because I kind of already talked about it last week on the roundtable discussion, but we have postponed that, and at a later date, we will come back and do it again, and that's all we're going to say about that.
It's still going to be out there. Yeah, it's still going to be happening.
We ain't saying nothing else about that.
That's some bigger things that, we're going to be doing as well with that. So, so you got to stay tuned.
Right. But we do have the pre-Grammy Zoom contest is going on. So basically, the goal is we're trying to get you artists out there the best way we can. You can go to the Atlanta Music Industry Group on Facebook, and you can learn more about it. But basically what it is there's 2 rounds to it. The first round is the music video competition, where basically we post, all the artists that register, we post them in the Atlanta Music Industry Group and let all the members and everybody kind of view them and stuff, and then the judges will find the best videos. Right. And then the best videos will move on to round 2, and round 2 is when you'll do a live performance on Zoom. Yeah. Right. And then once again, the judges will pick the grand prize winner, and the grand prize winner will be performing at the pre-Grammy, the Moody Gala pre-Grammy party in Atlanta, which is always a big thing every year in January.
Yeah, it's got a promo out there.
Yes, it's always a big deal. He's been doing it for a long time, and they're always packed. It really is.
This one's supposed to be an even bigger one.
Right, and they're going to be streaming it, the performance and everything, to I think like 100 countries. Wow. And actually, the Atlanta, I forget the Atlanta Shop Network will be sponsoring the hotel stay for the winner, and then we are going to put up the basically the performance pay. So you'll get paid to perform. You perform and you get paid for it, $20, right? Mm-hmm. And we might even throw in something else. We haven't decided everything yet, but but the thing is, even though we're only picking one winner, we're going to be looking at all the music, everybody, and the best we're going to still work with and provide other opportunities.
Oh yes, plenty of things that's been going on with that. We have a lot of things that's actually going to be able to help artists out. And, businesses as well, man. You're going to be able to, do some things to get you out there in a worldwide type of situation where you can control your own thing. We know that that's where the independent music is at these days. People are just not just listening to the local radio, like people start watching as much TV. So now when it comes to finding where the independent artist is at, man, you got to be able to, we're going to be able to help them find you. That's what we're going to do with that. So, yeah, it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah. So we got a really great show set up for y'all today. We have a returner. Corey Palmer. Yeah, he wanted to come back with his daughter. Right. And because she is following in his steps and has published a book. And then we also, the second half of the show, we have Marcus Coleman, who actually he's a big time producer in California. He's the composer for, if any of you remember the show GirlFriends, I think it comes on Netflix now.
Yes, on Netflix. Came back on Netflix. All of those shows, Netflix, the Parkers.
Oh, all of them?
Yeah, they all back on there. The one with the game, because the show was called The Game. A lot of those the channels from the UPN, that those UPN, CW, all those shows from, I want to say, the late 90s, early 2000s, from shows like that. They're all back out there. And, it's pretty good to watch them. I actually watched a couple of them, so it was pretty cool. I have to go through that.
So we always look at different shows like Unsung, and we hear about the different artists and stuff that were, involved, or had good careers, and we didn't know the backstory on them. But a lot of y'all don't know that there's a lot more stuff that has went on in the TV and music industry, and I can't wait for Marcus Coleman to talk about it, because we talked about it a little bit during his, our conference call with him, and I can't wait for that. But anyway, let's start. The tea. Right, the tea. He's going to spill that tea. So we're going to start with our very first guest, which is Corey Palmer. Yeah. Corey, are you on the line?
Yes, I am.
What's going on?
Yeah, welcome back.
How you doing
welcome
today?
Back, welcome back, welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you, too.
What's that little voice I hear in the background?
There's a junior author out there.
That's your princess?
Yes, my princess right here.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
Right. So she has actually written a book, huh?
Yes, she has. Her book came out on Monday, though. Amayah's Life. It's her story.
Yep.
And basically she wrote her own story talking about how I raised her since she was 3 years old. And I taught her how to read, write, spell. And she wanted to follow my footsteps. And
she wanted to follow your footsteps.
Yes. Yeah, so my book, I did my own at first for her with Story of Father's Love. and I did the sketch art. We actually did the illustrations of me and her in her book.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So it's kind of working together, like, right? Like while you were doing yours,
yes.
And then you helping her out with her book. Now her name is Amayah.
Amayah, yes.
Amayah. Hi. Now what's the name of her book?
Well, let her tell it. Let her tell it what the name of the book is. Amayah, you want to tell what the name of your book is?
Yes.
What's the name of your book?
Amayah's Life.
Amayah's Life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what is Amayah's life about?
Me and my daddy.
You and your daddy? Oh. So, are you? Did you start back school? Do you have to go to school online?
We had to go to school online.
Oh, okay. Have you always liked spelling and stuff like that, and drawing?
Yes.
Oh. Have you told any of your friends that you wrote a book?
No, not yet.
Oh, you haven't told them yet?
Well, it just released on Monday.
Correct.
Right,
okay.
like a junior author out here, right?
Right, that's
awesome. I mean, you're an author yourself, so you can give her some of the tips for some of those multi. What's those books they have out there? Like they write like multi books, like they have those publishing houses that write
like series.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. So, do you think that you're gonna want the book after this one?
She got quiet. I think she will though. But we're gonna see. Like I told her, it's your first book. You're 7 years old. You accomplish something in your life that going forth. Go soon school back. Go in person. You can take your book to school and take it to everybody in school. So you got a book it now. And she's excited about it. She's nervous too at the same time about it.
Yeah. So I know you must feel so proud, Corey. Your daughter is following in your footsteps.
Oh,
yes.
Yes, I am. She's proud too. It's that thing when you start off and you start writing and you see your child following you and you watching your child.
And it's good.
And it's good. And to see her do it though, like we brought the album and smile. And we were sitting and talking one day and I was like, Amayah, you want to write a book?
Yes.
She was like, yes. We started. And
it was great.
It was great. And then we did the illustrations. I got somebody to do the illustrations as the story went.
And the book came up.
And her book came up.
Okay. So, Corey, I know you wrote some other books too. Tell the listeners about all the books that you've written.
Well, I
wrote 7 books.
I have 7 books out though now. My first part, Lifestyle Situation Part 1 and Part 2. And then it's Story of Father's Love, which is my version children's book for her. And then I got This Is Love books 1 and 2 I did with this girl out of North Carolina called Ina Elsley. It's a romantic fiction poetry collaboration. Then I did a Black Lives Matter, Black Man Thoughts, Black Woman Intuition book with about 8 other people, though, basically focusing on everything that we got going on now, from Breonna Taylor to the injustice to police to Sandra Bland to George Floyd, mental health, all that in the poetry form. I did that book as well. Then we came out with Amayah's book, Amayah's Life, right after that.
Oh, that was good.
So you just been rolling.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Writing.
Do you seem to get like to have 7 books? I don't know how long it took you to expand, to write those. But when you're coming up with these topics and things that you're writing about, I know the ones you did for the thing for like the Black Lives Matter and at least like the things in the political social justice system that we have in this country. Well, how would you come up with some of the ideas for some of your other material?
Like with my first 2 books, though, with Lifestyle Situations, that was all based off my life and everything. And with doing that, with me doing that, it was basically off of my life. And then doing her book and writing her story, it made it easy to showcase my past to present. And then I wrote a romantic fiction book. That was just a thing that came to me was like, well, I'm going to do my first collaboration. But then the Black Lives Matter book, I'm seeing everything that's going on. Like, I'm seeing everything that's happening. I'm talking to people, and everybody like, man, we need to do something together and write a Black Lives Matter book on different aspects from the man's aspect and the woman's aspect. So you got topics talking everything that we go through and experience, and it came together pretty good with, you know, what's going on right now, because we have to, as black people, have to come together on something. So it was one thing that we came together on.
Right. Man, now, like, do you do, like, I know, I mean, there's a thing where some people have the audio books, but now I'm starting to hear that, see that some of the authors are reading their books, like they're doing dramatic reads on Zoom. Have you considered doing anything like that?
I have now, since with her book out now, I'm going to start doing something maybe next couple of weeks, so that I'm going to start reading my books online and start hitting that atmosphere that way now. Since like more and more I keep going with everything, it's a new process to me. Like, we coming in this year, I had no books, and I was like, man, I'm just going with it though and praying to God that, like, okay, this is what I need to do right here, and continue to show myself, okay, as a writer, as a father, as a man, and continue, you know, to grow with this though, with no knowledge really in it though. And every day is a new journey for me. So every time I'm like, okay, what can I do different though? What can I show my writing to the world? Now, since her book's out though, the focus is, you know, her and also my other books too as well, but I want her book to shine more than mine does.
Okay. Yeah, I get that, man. Like I said, well, earlier I was like, if she would have did a series or something that's going to come off of what she's doing. But even with that, like at that age for, a child to write, because there's no age limit to this. It's just like, you know, if somebody's doing this, they got a book and other kids can relate to it, and, you know, and it's all good with the material and then with the words and how everything's put together. Like, I'm always amazed by books. We actually we got our little library together. We got books everywhere.
We got so many books.
You know, we got to like get that wall set up for that. You know, but yeah, reading is fundamental, and that's really the truth. I can remember going to school when I was in the first, third grade. I couldn't read as well, and then my father got me like this thing that was like the old school, hooked on phonics. But then I learned how to maybe enunciate words so well that it helped me write songs. You know what I mean? Like, I knew how to write songs that well. You know what I mean? And now to this day, I still know how to write. Like, I don't know if it's poetry or writing songs, but I just know how to, like, crazy intonation due to the way that I was taught how to listen to the sound of a word or syllable, things like that. You know, and I think that, you know, doing it at that age where she's doing it right now, that's something to carry on with her for, like, a lot of years to come. So I definitely, you know, commend you for that, for doing that Father's Day work right there, sir.
Right, because you know what, in this age where you have a lot of single mothers, you know what I'm saying, who are raising their children, you know, in the absence of a father. You are the reverse. You are, you know, the single father who's raising his daughter. And a lot of people just don't understand, you know, the beauty of, you know, as far as men, the beauty of, you know, investing, and even women too, investing in your children's dreams, investing in your children's, you know, talents and gifts. A lot of times as adults, we're so focused on us and what we want to accomplish that we don't always take the time to, you know, really promote and look at what our children are doing or invest in them. You know what I'm saying? So I commend you, you know, for investing in your seed, investing in your daughter, you know, showing men you don't run from your responsibilities, because those children are gifts to you. They're blessings to you. And if you take the time to realize that, instead of trying to run because you don't want to pay whatever you got to pay, or you don't want to do what you want to do, what you feel like you got to do, or you don't want to have to take time away from your pursuit, to raise a child, you're missing out on blessings on top of blessings on top of blessings. So so I know that when we talked to you last time, you talked about how you had done some time or whatever, and you came out, and everybody probably expected you to get back into whatever you were doing before, but you changed. So how do they look at you now? How do they give you that support now? And what have they said about your daughter writing her own book and all that? Like, what kind of support have you gotten from your family or your friends or your community?
As the journey continues, though, with me, right? Like, at first it was a shock to everybody with me writing the book, and it was like, well, now since they come together more, the more support is there. Facebook, Instagram, family, friends-wise, seeing the journey I'm trying to go now, and seeing that I'm going with change and doing everything I'm supposed to do now, I see everybody look at me different now, and everybody see that, the transition on what I was going for, when I got my daughter full-time and everything I'm doing now, it's more like everybody sees it collectively now since her book is out, though, and they see what I'm doing out here in the community with the events I'm doing and everything like that. So everybody sees the reason why I brought the books out first before I started expanding everything else, though, was to let people know, hey, my past. Again, when I go to these community centers and go to these events I heard, telling my books and talking to people looking at my daughter, looking at me, I'm showing them the change, what you can come from to what you're doing now. My daughter, everywhere I go, my daughter's with me. And my daughter's seen herself, though, too, the change that Daddy made. And once people look at you now and see it, there's no more questions anymore on what I'm doing, because they see I'm doing it positively. On Facebook, I'm constantly, promoting everything in the way it needs to go. So when people see it, they gravitate to it more and more, see it. The inverse we saying at first, first book drops, it's like, oh, now it's like he really is out here doing it for the right reasons. He really is doing this to shine a light on the change I heard, shine a light on Amayah, shine a light on the positivity in the community.
Right. People need that.
Really. So, have you noticed any of the guys or people that you used to hang with when you were out in the streets? For those who have seen that change that you've made in your life, have you noticed that any of them have even started to maybe follow in your footsteps a little bit? If not getting off the block, at least taking more time out with their children. Like, have you seen any changes in some of your street buddies that used to be, your partners in crime, for a lack of a better word? Have you seen any changes in them?
Yes, I have. Like, man, some has told me, to change, and some of them has told me directly. But conversation, throughout, 2020, everything's going on, you see Facebook posts different now. You see things different, though, when you comment, talk to them. They may not directly tell me, hey, Corey, man, what you did, man, what you doing, I see it, but they doing things differently, though. And also 2020 affected everybody in a way that you have to move differently anyway. So a lot of my friends now, they are spending more time with the kids, so, they are doing more with their kids. We are, building more foundation for our kids, because at the end of the day, a lot of my buddies, and including myself, we all started businesses. We were all different type of businesses, though, due to the fact of jobs being lost, so being some of us already full-time, fathers, full-time parents, so we had to redo schedules. So when I say, collectively, all my friends and everybody, and the ones I ran with, we all move different now, in different light now, due to the change I heard. So I feel great, though, that, I could, show everybody, though, that from my standpoint, though, and what I have done, though. And it's amazing, though, how you can, go from this with your kids, though, and really, truly be that flower blossom, though, out here, with your kids, though, and everybody else watching with the kids.
Yeah, that's so inspirational right there, and it's real.
Yeah, definitely. I with my pursuit of the music and the books and the movies and all that kind of stuff, I have 4 children, and so it came to a point in time where it was like, okay, I've invested in myself, and I still continue to do that. But now I want to invest in my children. So, I have an artist, One Way Zay, that he's going to be coming out with some stuff. When my daughter was doing her little modeling thing, I invested in it for as long as she wanted to do it. I think another thing is sometimes parents, we have to listen to the kids and see what they want to do, and not just try to push what we want them to do on them. So, when it got to the point where it looked like my daughter wanted to relax for a little bit, because of her diagnosis, I had to back off. I have another son who's into basketball, and he wants, he started his own YouTube channel. So I had to start, taking time to invest in them. You know what I'm saying? And sharing this journey and not just being I. A lot of times, as artists and as business owners and, whatever your pursuit is, a lot of times it becomes a monster of its own and it almost takes over. You know what I'm saying? And you have to step back sometimes and you have to refocus and just make sure that you're paying attention to the things that matter most. Our families and our children, they matter most. That's like before all the other stuff, and just trying to remember not to, get out of focus with that. So how hard is it for you to do hair? That's what I'm curious about. Like, you have to do your daughter's hair in the morning?
Oh, I mean, it got easier over time, though, but you got to realize my daughter's hurt in the middle of her back, though, so at this point right now, it's 2 ponytails. It's going to be 2 ponytails till she gets some braids, though, because I heard in the middle of her back, so all I can do is ponytails every single day. But, it's like she wants to braid, but I don't want to get the braids too early, though. I'm like, you 7, but you can still wait, baby. Plus, with her hair, it's so fine, though, curly, though. Yeah, I watch her hair. She got curls, though, for days. I'm like, so if I doing her hair, it's easier because of how it is, though, but don't get me wrong. Hey, that hair been growing in the middle of her back. I'm just like, wow.
You doing something right. You're doing something right. Yeah. So we want to talk more to you, and it's pronounced Amayah, right?
Yes.
Okay. We want to talk more to you and Amayah, but we're going to take a quick break, play a couple songs, and we'll be right back.
And Amayah's wife. Yeah, that's the book right there, too. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be right back.
Unscripted.
On the Move Unscripted, y'all.
Through the years, there were times I felt like I was losing my mind. Never thought I'd get to this place where I'd find the peace inside. In the darkness, I found my light. I found peace in the tears I've cried. Now I've got a million reasons for life. We can rise if we don't fall, nah, nah. If you're low, now lift your head higher. What's yours, no one can take away. Thank God in every way. Now I see better days. Better days, only better days, better days. We can rise if we don't fall, nah, nah. All the pain, it made me grow stronger. I see better days, only better days. I remember the times I felt like there was no hope inside. But even when it hurt, I found my worth in the faith to strive. In the darkness, I found my light. I found peace in the tears I've cried. Now I've got a million reasons for life. We can rise if we don't fall, nah, nah. If you're low, now lift your head higher. What's yours, no one can take take away. Thank God in every way. Now I see better days, better days. Only better days, better days. We can rise if we don't fall. Now all the pain it made me grow stronger. I see better days, better days. Only better days, better days. Better days. If you're alone, feel broken, with so many words left unspoken, let it be heard, let your heart open. Now is the time, now is the time. If you're alone, feel broken, with so many words left unspoken, let it be heard, let your heart open. Now is the time, now is the time. We can rise if we don't fall. Now if you're low, now lift your head higher. What's yours, no one can take away. Thank God in every way. Now I see better days, better days. Only better days, better days. We can rise if we don't fall. Now all the pain it made me grow stronger. I see better days, better days.
Dancing on the beat.
I've been climbing over walls in pursuit of the summit, blocking out the voice of failure that's saying I'll plummet. Cause when I'm truly in the moment, I find that I run it. I no longer feel the need to sit on my ass and get blunted. I've walked a bumpy road from writing these rhymes in the basement to looking at the bigger picture and finding its placement. Overcome the biggest demons in life that I'm faced with. I think I finally understand why I'm preaching amazement. Following the path of destiny, faced with a question: am I really about to find persistence in light of oppression? And do I really have the heart to pursue this profession? I'm the kind of guy that likes to crack and the heat and the pressure. Damn, it takes a lot to admit to regression, and thoughts of doubt begin to crop and ensue the obsession. But I have come so far in the grasp of verbal expression. This is the time to finally accept all my deepest confessions. And I don't wanna live my life about what's right or shine my light, and you don't know about my strife within my mind. I please these rhymes, and you already know I'm taking this back to the basics. Realize the bigger picture in life that I'm faced with, and I don't know if it's my time or I'm just blind within my grind. But you would never think that a man could handle this type of pressure, breaking down every wall that he's facing till there are none to measure. Coming up under the beat is my calling, you can say it's a guilty pleasure. Back in the fucking rap in a black basement, taking names in search of treasure. Goddamn, never would have thought that a man could have seen his true potential. Up on stage and the whole damn crowd goes crazy, man, this gift is special. And I'm on top of this honesty, man, it is so essential. All the shit really take is to work and the rest is exponential. Let me get back to this track and just spit the facts. When I rap, there's no talking back to the beast. When you kick the smash, you go pack, and I won't attack. You can have all the stupid nags in the world, you still gon' lack the true meaning of where it's at. Rising above the call to destiny, testing me about these lessons in life. Fun about the questions of right, and I'm filled with ecstasy. Talking about the strife and it's tight, unite the ones that follow till the helpless can no longer fight. Like, and I don't wanna live my life about what's right or shine my light, and you don't know about my strife within my mind. I please these rhymes, and you already know I'm taking this back to the basics. Realize the bigger picture in life that I'm faced with, and I don't know if it's my time or I'm just blind within my grind. Okay, man, I bleed on the page with a passion. I give a fuck about the fame and the image of fashion. This game of kings is overrun, and I'll be the assassin that isn't afraid to say fuck him and preach it to the masses. Shit, and every one of them is just a cash-in, and yet there's people that starve and can't even fuck with rations. A place where people live in peace can't even fucking fathom, and yet the thought is so emotional, can you imagine? And I don't wanna live my life about what's right or shine my light, and you don't know about my strife within my mind. I please these rhymes, and you already know I'm taking this back to the basics. Realize the bigger picture in life that I'm faced with, and I don't know if it's my time or I'm just blind within my grind. Crazy feed. Music.
Now you got everything that I've been searching for. All over, look high and low for. Now you're here, I just can't help but give my all. Come here, boy, I need you near, boy. I don't know what you're doing to me. Wrapped up in your trance, my head's gone in a day. You're doing to me. Wrapped up in your trance, my head's gone in a day. I just can't help but give my all. Come here, boy, I need you near, boy. Baby, you're the one that I love. Baby, you're the one that I love. Footsteps too strong, they can never come between us. You're my only, 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 my only. You're the one that I love, baby. You're the one that I love.
What's going on? You have tuned in to another episode of On The Move Unscripted with Patricia M. Goins
and Mr. Stout.
Mr. Stout in the house. And we're currently interviewing Corey Palmer, and we're interviewing his daughter, Amayah, who has written a book called Amayah's Life, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So where can they get Amayah's Life? Like, where can they go to get the book?
Both my book, Story of Father's Love and Amayah's Life, is on Amazon. Hers is $12 on Amazon. The Kindle is 99 cents. I'm about to build a website here soon, and be going out the website, but right now, Amazon.
Okay, awesome. And I really would like for all the listeners, to go out and support, either through Kindle or through a paperback. Like, it's going to make her feel so happy when her daddy reveals that first little royalty check, like, you know what I'm saying? Right. So,
that's the thing, yeah.
Yeah, because that's a big thing, you know what I'm saying? You got so many children who, they don't have that support, you know what I'm saying, that family support or whatever, but you got a child right here who not only has that support, she have her father's support, and that's a big thing. Hey. How old is she again?
7.
7 years old.
Right.
She has written a book at 7 years old. Mm-hmm. That is so amazing.
Right.
And that just goes to show, the type of father that you are.
And with the right guidance, you can do But yeah, he can do great things with that.
Yeah, because, this is her first book, you know what I'm saying? But as she gets older and she continues to write, of course, it's going to continue to develop. And, and you never know. You might just have the next, celebrity author sitting right there with you.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So I would like to know, Corey, what kind of advice would you give to other single fathers, about being a single father, and especially the new single fathers, the ones who have just gotten, their child for the first time, and they're trying to really figure things out? Like, what kind of advice would you give to single fathers?
I give any single father, the advice of be patient with your kids. So, you don't know what your child goes through with the lack of the other parent. Same way as the mother goes through with after lack of the father. Vice versa is the same thing with the being lack of the mother there as a father. Especially with girls though, and yes, girls is attached to daddy no matter what. But raising a child as a single father, you have to sometimes step back and be more patient, especially with these girls. And one thing I learned through the process is, no matter how hard daddy is, I got to step back and be softer to her. For the fact being that the nurturing part, though, that we're not naturally as men nurturing individuals. So we have to learn the process, though. And with girls, and even with boys, though, because if you raise a boy by yourself as a single man, it's easy roll right there. You can teach that boy everything. But your daughter, as a girl, emotions come, her mind goes, she asks questions. My daughter's 7 years old, but with me since she was 3. So the process, though, from daycare to now second grade, it's a process itself, though. Then she understands daddy taking her when daddy did and why I did it. But at the age of 3 years old, it was questions to why you take me from my mom. And you can't explain it to a 3-year-old no matter how you put it on flashcards, write it out, put it in a puzzle. It's not going to be able to manifest, though, till she get older. Like my daughter's now just at 7. I would say 1 to 6, 1 to 7 years old, and she really can talk to me about it. She can really talk about, when she sees her mom on the bit station, when they happen, or when she misses on Friday. She can fully tell me, daddy, how she really feels. And that's what being a single father, we have to take on that nurturing aspect. And plus right now with our kids not being in school, no matter what, we're second nature to everything they do now. We're being at home. And like I told my daughter earlier today, we was on the Google Meet with class. I was just like, hey, look at the kids on her. I said, you special. You may lack mother part. But some of these kids ain't got neither one of their parents right there with them on the school. They in second grade. You talking babies, so he's a second grade, 7-year-old, 6, 7, 8 years old. Yeah, we're doing homeschool right now, and the parent right there on the computer with them. So when I tell any father, any mother, single parent, right now, what we got going on out here, we're in school, we're in home learning, be right there with your kids. So, you know what? That we got to direct these kids when they go back into these schools. So we don't know what questions they're going to have when they go back into school. We don't know what questions they're going to have now with everything going on with the injustice and everything going on, the protests. Our kids are exposed to so much to them that being a parent itself, co-parenting, single parent, however you want to do it, as a parent, is being right there with your kids in any given moment, because we're losing kids out here young that are my generation's kids out here. And what's going on, we're losing 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids to the streets. And then it's sad because these are our kids running out here. So we ain't right there with our kids hands on. How can we make our kids better if we're not doing better ourselves? And that's important what I do with my daughter, you know, to show her a better life. No matter what daddy came from. Look what daddy doing. And daddy 35 years old now. Everything I did, my life is, yes, it's there. My record shows, my tattoo shows it. But as a father, that's my life now. That's what I do. That's who I am. And, you know, that's why I got her to write her book, and she was like, yes. And she seen daddy do it. So no matter what we show our kids will follow our footsteps whichever way we want them to. It may not be right in there. Our kids is watching. We grew up watching our kids, watching our parents. You know, and nowadays our kids see so much out here with social media and everything out here that we don't watch our kids. And our kids lead to the streets, so we lead our kids to other things. So we have to be, as parents, strong-minded. As a mother, father, co-parent, has to be strong parents nowadays. Because there's so much out here that our kids can go to. We're not strong ourselves. We'll fail our kids.
It's so much content out there for kids to get their hands on now, to watch so much faster and get things. And there's more people out there who are trying to interfere into a child's development, you know, these days, that you have to be on your kids, you know, more than you may, more like tighter than maybe your parents were on you, you know what I mean, like, or on us, you know what I mean, because we used to be outside and play in the street before the light and be home before, you know, the light come on, whatever, you know, before the street lights come on. But now your kids is more in the house, more like longer, you know, because they're got the classroom, you know, at home, and then, you know, less people are having their children outside because of what's going on in, you know, today's society, and not just on the pandemic, but just in the politics of life, growing up in that. You know what I mean? Like, if you listen to what the kids are talking about, what their thoughts are, you know, it's a real reflection of how we are.
Right.
You know, that's what you're going to hear.
Has she asked you why she wasn't able to go back to school with her friends?
Oh, yeah, we've been talking about that quite a bit, though. Like, my daughter is very smart. And with the whole COVID-19 and then everything's going on, my daughter's aware of it, though, because, see, me and my daughter used to go everywhere. Like, any type of play, show, anything, we was there. So, my daughter's birthday came in March. She had a birthday party, and since then we couldn't go nowhere. My daughter, she realized this whole COVID that she got to wear masks everywhere. She doesn't understand. She's like, Daddy, I want to go back to school. You know what? But she understands that we can't go back until it's safe, though. You know, she definitely fully aware of all of the, but, you know, still to a 7-year-old, it's still like, why we still can't go back. You know, we going outside, we can, you know, we can wear a mask to school. You know, it's still not as, in her mind, like, hey, it ain't you, baby, worrying about it. So other kids just coming to school, though. You know, in my thought, my child never got sick in her life, though, for real. So to send my child back to school right now, it's like, nah, I'm good. I stay at home. We do is keep doing it at home.
Exactly. Man.
That's deep. Yeah. So I'm curious. How do you handle dating as a single father?
Well, the lack of, like my friend, like my homies just say, though, bro, you got another about 3 or 4 more years, man. Your baby girl is not going to be attached to your side, though. You can actually date. Until then, you know, you got to deal with that attachment, though, that's going to be there. Because she definitely ain't letting nobody just come into her world without, you know what I'm saying, a questionnaire that she got for him anyway.
She got a questionnaire for her.
Because she's like, she's old enough now to sit there and see, okay, she see Daddy doing this, Daddy doing that, though, so she's like, well, what can you do to help us, though, right? You know what, my daddy got T-shirts, earrings, books he's selling. What can you do to help us, though? My daddy got his own thing going on. I'm with him all the time. What can you do? But it's funny, though, but that's part of it, though, when your child watches you go into beginning of 2020, start a whole books, earrings, shirts, and all that stuff you got going on, and she watching you do it, you know, and then the books come out, her book come out, it's like, well, I need somebody to be able to help me with my daddy and be here with me, though, you know, for my daddy.
Right.
So their life is like, you know, well, if it happens, oh, God bless you, hey, you gotta find a wife one of these days. But right now, I keep living like the way it is.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. So, yeah, you do got some other things. I saw that. What are the other things that you're doing outside of just the books for you and Amayah?
Well, I got the Black Lives Mask. I got Black Lives Mask shirt, unapologetically black shirts. My City 502 shirts. I got the Nubian earrings, though, the African earrings. I do it as well. Got bracelets in my daughter's Black Lives Matter bracelets and stuff. He did those too. So a little bit different things that, you know, I done got myself into with vendor events and everything. And, you know, with the earrings, though, they are on my page, on the Corey Palmer page. So I just ship them out to anybody and everywhere.
Okay, so you said they can tell them your Facebook, your Instagram. Tell them all your stuff, because I know your daughter doesn't have that yet. Tell them, you know, how they can get in touch with you through your social media.
Facebook, I got 2 pages. I got my main page, Corey Palmer. Then I got my secondary, which is my author page. I also do my other businesses on too as well, author Corey Palmer. And then I have Instagram, which is Fave. FAV_big_homie85. That's on Instagram right there. And you can reach me either way, though, of course. Email Corey.Palmer85@yahoo.com. On the books, on the shirts, on the earrings, on the mask. Also, I have pictures on my page of the earrings, my books, and everything else. So.
Yeah, see, because if you go out there and get those copies.
Yeah, you're doing a lot. Yeah. That's what's up. That's how you got to be. So I just love it because he didn't allow, you know, going to jail to be his excuse for, you know what I'm saying, not doing what he needed to do. You know, he had, you know, more than just himself. Sometimes children, the blessing in children is you can be out there wilding out, you know what I'm saying, and then here comes this bundle of joy, whether it was expected or unexpected, and it forces you to reevaluate your life and to make changes, you know what I'm saying, and to do things understanding that it's not just about you.
Definitely. And that's very true, though. And when you say that, though, it's impactful because at the end of the day, you got 2 parents on her. When your child has neither one of them parents, so you got to make a choice to say, okay, hold on. I'm going to make my life better for me and my child, or make life worse for me and my daughter. You know, and when I came to the realization that life out on the streets, though, wasn't going to be what I needed, though, and my story is different than anybody else I heard. I had to step up. Sometimes it's mean you ain't got to step up, though. It's not going to hit you smack dead in the face, though, until some other things hit you in the face. But when you have to really step up as a man and realize that your child only got you, no matter what else out there, you have to sit there and say, hold on, forget the streets, I don't care what money you out here, what you doing, the lifestyle. Like, when you asked me on the dating part, right, I had to sit there and say, no more party, no more women, no more none of this out here that I was loving, right? I got a whole daughter right here that needs a full-time parent. Not part-time, not half-time. Yeah, I had to go into a full-time father role. And when as a man, you have to learn that. And sometimes, if it's not smack dead in your face, though, as a father, it's hard to step up at game. But then at the same time, your child, as a man, you have to be there.
Right. You have to be there.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So I just, as we're coming towards the end of the show, I want to switch into the author hat, and I want to jump inside your brain and ask you to give authors aspiring authors, those who are thinking about writing or whatever, give them some nuggets, some jewels, whatever you want to say, inspirational words, informational, type stuff, whatever it is that you want to say to other authors, male and female, kids and adults, whoever, about writing or becoming an author. What advice do you have?
As an author, to anybody, is chase your dreams, though. You know what? Is chase your dreams. No matter what it is, though, if it's writing poetry, fiction, nonfiction, write it out, though, because you never know who can be impacted from your writings, though. You don't know what your writing can do for somebody in a situation, though, or in their life, though, to make them become an author, become a better writer. It's one thing that I learned with writing, though, that, we all have the ability to write, but do we channel it in enough to want to impact somebody? Well, you don't know until you write it out, though. You'll never know anything till it's rolled out and somebody be like, man, that's deep what you said right there. You never know until it's rolled out. If you don't write it out, though, you cannot. You all short ourselves anything, even the best that we have is that one thing that we wrote out, though, to change forever, and the ability to do it is that ability for God to be able to do it. Because we all, as writers, has a story. Key word, we all have a story. No matter what the story is, it's our own story. Nobody can tell our story but ourselves.
Right. That's definitely true. Well, I appreciate you for stopping by, and I know that when you release, what's the book that your own book that the new one that you're going to, because you're going to be coming back on in October to discuss your new book at that time. What's the name of it?
The newest one will be most likely on the show in October will be the affirmation book. 52 Weeks of Affirmation will be the newest book then. But the newest book by me right now is The Black Man Thoughts, Black Woman Intuition on Kindle that I'm going to do a paperback here in the next week or so. It's in the back cover. That'll be the newest books right there. It's her book, Black Man Thoughts, Black Woman Intuition. Then the 52 Weeks of Affirmation should be out when I get back on your show next couple weeks.
Okay. And then we got Amayah's Life, too, right? So that's the other one that's out there.
Yeah, that's the one that just got released now, Amayah's Life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Well, thank you so much. So let Amayah say something. Let me speak to Amayah.
I walked off somewhere.
Oh, she didn't walk off. You got any shout-outs that you want to give in, Corey?
Well, shout-out to y'all. And, Amayah, you want to say anything? Say something. About being on the show.
Say hi to you and your friends.
Say hi, bro.
Hi.
You want to say anything?
Well, thank you for sharing your book with us, Amayah.
Say thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And shout out to me, though, y'all, though, for letting me be on the show again and, continue the journey and everything as my process goes on, though. Y'all, second time being on here, third time's a charm, though, coming up in October.
Oh, yeah. We're going to definitely have some people we want to send your way, for sure. We're going to send you I think we have a number for you, so we have a thing that's going on for a 6-day show that's going to be coming up on Zoom with companies that we work with out in California. And you may have something, if you got time between these shows, maybe it's something that you might want to reach out to these people, but we want to send you information for it. And these are really good people out there in the West Coast. And we'll let them know that what you're doing, and you know, you can introduce yourself. We'll introduce you to them, but then you can follow through and do some things with them.
Yeah, so Mr. Stout will follow back up with you.
Definitely.
Okay, appreciate it.
Before we go off, I just want to say I was talking in one of the book groups, and I was talking to somebody, and I was telling him, you know, we need to support indie authors, you know. I mean, because true enough, a lot of readers, they have their favorite, they have their favorite authors, you know, their celebrity authors and all that kind of stuff. But we need to support these independent authors because there was a point when we didn't know who, you know, some of these celebrity authors were. It took readers to bring them to the forefront, you know, and bring their work of art to the forefront. So I will always support independent authors because I'm one. I'm going to always support y'all because I know that there are a lot of gifted authors out there who have not yet had the opportunity to hit the mainstream. So, you know, whatever I can do to support authors, independent authors, artists, musicians, whatever, whatever we can do, we're going to continue to do that as long as God allows us to have a platform to do it with.
That's right. All the way up. Thanks, Corey Palmer. And we got Amayah. All right, Amayah.
Thank you, Amayah.
Thank you.
We appreciate you, and many blessings to you. And I'll be talking to you again next month so we can hear about,
right.
you know, what's going on with this next book.
By tomorrow, we're going to reach out to you about the information for this show. So it's like a 3-day thing.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So that was Corey Palmer and Amayah Palmer.
Right.
And we just showcased her new book, The Baby Girl Who's Only 7. We just showcased her new book.
Dropped on Monday, right?
Just dropped on Monday.
And it's on Kindle.
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah. Amayah's Life. All right, y'all. So we will be right back because we have another awesome show set up for you, another interview. And actually, you have heard of this. You may not have heard of his name before, but you've definitely heard of the show GirlFriends, right? We all know GirlFriends. We've all heard, you know. So we actually have an interview with him coming up, and I can't wait to get into the tea with that. So, Corey, if you want to stay around and kind of listen in to this interview, you're more than welcome.
Okay.
All right, then. So we'll be right back, y'all, on the Move Unscripted.
Come get some.
Come get some.
I'll never be home by myself, thinking that you're out with somebody else. Once have to hear empty promises, worrying about how that you're just in on a song. Don't have to hide what I feel, cause you know the type to mess up what is real. I know you don't, I know I won't, no. I just wanna stay here by your side, cause I know that you're gonna treat me right. And I think I never thought that I'd feel this way. It took me a while, now I'm here to say yes. Gave you my heart, though it won't break. Took me a while, now I'm here to say yes. No, I don't have to question your love. The way that you kiss me, I can't get enough. Oh, this ain't dominance, you're stable. You always lay all the cards on the table. And when I'm talking about you, I know you never know how much I love you. No, I know you don't, I know you won't. I just wanna stay here by your side, cause I know that you're gonna treat me right. And I think yes. I never thought that I'd feel this way. It took me a while, now I'm here to say yes. Took me a while, now I'm here to say I know you don't, I know I
What's going on? You have tuned in to another episode of On The Move Unscripted. And we just finished interviewing Corey Palmer and his daughter, Amayah, in their book, Amayah's Life. That was awesome and amazing.
Father's love.
Yes. And so now we are on to the second part of our show, right? We've been waiting on this. We got Marcus Coleman, and then we also have Charles Fearing. Now, these two know each other, right? So this is going to be fun to actually interview these two friends who have been friends for many, many, many years, I do believe. So we have Marcus, and we also have Charles Fearing on the line. What's going on?
Hey.
You know, I've been waiting on this.
Okay. Is Mr. Fearing on the line?
Is that Charles?
No, this is Mr. Coleman.
Oh, this is Mr. Coleman. Okay. So I believe Mr. Fearing is also on the line. He may have stepped away from the phone. But I want to start off by kind of like going down memory lane, if you don't mind, and just telling everybody where your journey started at as far as being a musician and getting into TV and all that kind of stuff. Like, take us back. Take us down the Yellow Brick Road.
I've been playing since I was 2. My first piano recital was when I was 2 years old.
Wow.
And got into elementary school and picked up the trumpet. My grandmother said that we've always had music in the family,
and musicians in the family. But the only person I remember seeing is my uncle. My uncle had a saxophone, and he'd be back in that back room just huffing and puffing away on that saxophone. And I remember, wanting to play the saxophone. So, I went to elementary school, and then when they were passing out the instruments, he tried to give me a violin. And I was like, I don't know. and then I told him I wanted to play the saxophone, and he said that they only had one saxophone. He already gave it out, so I was stuck with the trumpet. Just me being me, I wore that trumpet out, and I think I played that trumpet every day, like nonstop. I was cock-a-doodle-doing with that trumpet. I was trying to play taps and wake the whole neighborhood up with the trumpet. Yeah, and I think my brother who was much younger than I am, I think he got fed up and he took the mouthpiece and threw the mouthpiece away, and I couldn't play anymore. So, but I had made the honors orchestra, and I had made the so many different awards playing trumpet. By the time I got to the 6th grade, it was time to put the trumpet down, and I picked up the saxophone. And so once I picked that thing up, man, the doors started opening.
You talk about following your dreams and landing.
Yeah.
And, you said open doors. Doors just start opening, huh?
Man, just doors start opening because I picked up that goddamn saxophone and I was trying to be Gerald Albright. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to be. I was trying to kill it, and got on that saxophone, and then so by the time I hit the 7th grade, and so what happened was in L.A. They got like certain small niche societies in L.A., wealthy, affluent people. And so the principal of my junior high school, they don't have junior high school no more. They got middle school now, but back then they had junior high school. And she called me into her office one day, and she was like, hey, listen, I need you to do something, but you can't tell your mom. And I was like, what? Okay. I'm a kid, so I don't know what's going on. She says, I need you to walk down the street to the end of the block and go into the gate, and it's a big white building on the corner, and I need you to walk into that building and go ask for Mr. Thayer. Down the street from the junior high school. So I went to 32nd Street Junior High School. If you know anything about LA, 32nd Street is right across the street from USC, right? So in between my junior high school is the Shrine Auditorium. So you remember the Shrine Auditorium where they used to have all the big Grammy Awards and all that stuff? The Shrine Auditorium is across the street from my junior high school. Okay? If you can picture that. So, we got to, when I was in junior high school, we got to see all the big limousine pull up, celebrities get out and they wave at us because we're behind the gate at the junior high school. And the Shrine is directly across. So it's my school, then the Shrine, and then USC, okay? That's how the geography is. So the principal told me to go down the school right past the Shrine on the other side of the Shrine Auditorium, and there's a big white building on the left-hand side. She said, I want you to go in that gate. I want you to go see Mr. Thayer, Joseph Thayer. And so, I'm thinking it's a whirlwind adventure. All right, let's go. So I walk down the street, and into the building, and I go into a place called the Colburn School for the Performing Arts. And when I go in there, I meet Dean Thayer, and he gave me a full scholarship to that school.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
So if you know anything about the Coleman School is very white, it's very Asian-y, and it's very affluent. You got to have some money to get up in there. And it's one of those. It's when you walk in there, it smells old. That's you know, you ever walk in somebody's house and it just smell like old people live here? That's what the Coleman School was like. It was very, very, very astute. You had to know your stuff to be up in there. And Mr. Thayer offered me. I'll just put it like this: the Composers School is Juilliard on the West Coast.
Okay.
If you can picture that. Like when you walk into Juilliard, you feel you have to straighten up. You have to sit up straight when you walk up in there. And that's what the Composers School is. The Composers School is just the West Coast version of Juilliard. And
so you just basically was blessed and didn't even expect to get blessed like that.
Nah. I didn't know any. Listen, I'm a kid, and I'm just the principal saying, "Don't tell your mom." That's all I could think of. Okay. And the reason why is because she knew that the window of opportunity was closing, and she knew it. So she was like, "Go down there right now." You know.
Wow.
And but yeah, they gave me a full scholarship to the Coleman School. You can, if you Google Colburn.edu, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. It's very, very astute. And we're talking 30 years ago. This is 30 years ago. They didn't got a lot of money since then, but even then it was still P's and Q's. You had to know your stuff or be open enough to receive the stuff. You know what I mean?
So after that, how did you get your first opportunity? I'm fast forwarding a little bit. So after school, you've done all that, how did you get your first opportunity to actually become a TV music composer? Like, how did that come about?
Okay, well, again, you know, my affiliation with the Coleman School put me in direct connection with a bunch of musicians, a bunch of real heavy duty musicians. And so at the Coleman School, I got to experience and learn about orchestration and composition. And that's kind of how it got started, you know, just kind of learning what a violin does, learning what a cello does, you know, learning about the real deal on paper. And back then, you know, computers were there, but I still had to learn on paper and pencil. So, like, I'm a relic now. I'm old school now. Considering what everybody's doing, I know how to do it on the computer and on pencil and paper. So, not everybody knows how to do it like that. But I had to go and sit down, and I took the experience at the Coleman School, and I also was accepted to the Academy of Music at Hamilton High School. So in LA, they had an Academy of Music. So I was doing dual enrollment. I was, you know, Monday through Friday, I was at Hamilton High School Academy of Music, and then, you know, in the evening, I would go to the Coleman School and hang out with the musicians. And then at night, in the evening, like 11 o'clock, I would go to the jam session in the evening with the real street cats. Yeah. So if you wanted to learn, I was like immersed in music, but the whole thing was, you know, you had to have enough courage to let people hear your arrangements on things and, you know, try different things with these instrument combinations and things like that. And so that's kind of how I got started, you know, just really just taking the time. In LA, they got a place in LA called Leimert Park. Leimert Park is where all the black musicians go hang out. And then at that time, it was a bunch of USC and UCLA musicians trying to come hang out with the black cats. You know, these are the real cats. You know, Shabazz Ali and, you know, Billy Higgins and, you know, Ronald Muldrew and all these other cats. These are real cats. And, you know, black Muslims love jazz, and to go and sit down with those musicians of that caliber, you have to know how to play. Because they'll tell you real fast, yo, cat, you ain't playing nothing. So, those are like the stepping stones for us. We really, during that time, learned how to play. And then, for me, I learned how to arrange and write, just by being ambitious. Taking the knowledge that I got from the Coleman School, having a little courage and, letting people try different things. And that's kind of how I got started. But my first big break really was a small film that I did for some USC students. USC has got like the best film school, one of the best film schools in the country. So I was, I got to hang out with some of those emerging directors, and so I got to score one of the films, and that's kind of how I got started. That was my first big thing. And then from there, it kind of started happening.
So how did you end up being able to become the music composer for the hit TV show GirlFriends? Okay,
so what happened was I was music directing. I was music directing and playing and putting together tours. I was working with a couple of artists at the time, but I was on tour with these people. Brian McKnight, and I was on tour with this guy named Kevin Edmonds. I don't know if y'all remember him from After 7.
Yeah, I remember After 7. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Babyface's little brother. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, there was a few artists. I was out with Shantae Moore, and I did a couple of things. Anyway, so I was working on this show called BET Live.
Yeah, remember that show.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that show?
Yeah.
I was working on this show called BET Live, and then I had met a singer there. Her name was Carmen Carter. And Carmen was so nice. She actually hooked me up with a company called the Wojan Brothers. The Wojan Brothers, they do at the time, they were the go-to for all the urban commercials. But they didn't have nobody in their crew that could do urban music, black music, hip-hop, whatever it was. They didn't have any composer that was a real dude. I mean, all their dudes were white guys who could, do something, but they, didn't know how to write a violin part. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but they needed somebody with some, a fresh face, a fresh look, a fresh sound, and somebody that knew how to translate what was in the computer to pencil and paper for live instruments. Wow. A real person. So that was right up my alley. I was like, yes, let's do it. So I wound up doing maybe 15, 20 commercials for them. Just a bunch of. Right back at the time, it was I did like maybe 5 or 6 of those Taco Bell commercials with the little dog, Yoquito Taco Bell.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I used to love the Taco Bell commercials.
I did like 5 or 6 of those. I did this one commercial called it was with the Fruit of the Loom guys, and they was riding around in this lowrider. I don't know if you remember that. You can YouTube it. It's called Lowrider, Fruit of the Loom. But, I did a bunch of commercials, Kentucky Fried Chicken and so on and so forth. Anyway, so Carmen was like, really impressed that the Wojans were like giving me big praise, big ups. The Wojan brothers is these two Jewish guys over in Santa Monica. And they were like giving it up. Yo, man, this guy is the truth. And they were talking to Carmen, so Carmen came back and was like, "Listen, I got another guy who needs somebody like you." And so that's when she introduced me to this guy named Kurt Farquhar.
Okay.
And Kurt at the time, you meet people, Kurt at the time was he was the guy that really didn't do anything but said he did everything. and really was he was that guy that everybody loves to hate. Right? I mean, you know, he's one of those guys who has no idea how many people really don't like him. He has no idea.
Well, he don't need to listen to this show because he gonna know if people didn't like him.
oh man. And the reality is that, you know, for a guy like me, I had just gotten married. I was probably 3 years into my marriage. So I was like, you know, I had an agenda. My agenda was, you know, get a house. I got to get some money, enough money to get my wife a house. You know, my kids are being born. I had an agenda. Yeah. And my agenda was to stack as much paper as I possibly could using my gift. So nonetheless, you know, I think he just made the mistake of thinking I was a regular dude, you know, a regular, you know, stupid black man, you know, ignorant of what it is that I am, and ignorant of my gift, you know, and he made a mistake. He just made a mistake. So
that's deep. That's really deep because, you know, when you think about, you know, the industry and TV shows, all kinds of stuff, like for instance, when you see Unsung and you hear about all the artists that was popping that aren't popping anymore, but they never really talk about behind the TV scenes of the people who make these shows possible or who make the tours possible or all that kind of stuff.
But the guy that he was just speaking about, like, wouldn't he would have known some of his work if he's going to approach them for some things?
Yeah, he has been watching them.
Yeah, right. You know,
or heard about him.
Yeah, he's still going to try to play him out without knowing that this man is a composer and he's doing it since he was 2.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you know,
right.
Just
well, is Mr. Charles Fearing on the line? Because Charles could tell you a whole lot. Probably,
well,
you know,
I see him. I see his number.
Yeah.
Oh, he's probably. Hey, Mr. Fearing.
How are you?
Hey, brother, what's going on?
What's going on?
Well, today's my birthday, so I'm having a good day.
Happy
birthday to you. All right, happy birthday! You gonna party like a rock star?
Well, you know, it's pretty chill. I'm here with my family, and I went to lunch, and you know, we're gonna have vegan ice cream because I'm a vegan, so we're gonna go do that. And you know, but the cool thing is that I share a birthday with B.B. King.
Nice.
And yeah, September 16th. My aunt, hers is September 16th. She's 95 today.
Okay.
Rodney Franklin, Earl Clue, and the gorgeous Tamron Hall.
Okay.
All of us are September 16th babies.
And you know what? My grandmother, who just turned 93, her birthday was yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay. So we all know what our parents were doing before and a little bit after Christmas. Okay?
Right.
Before New Year's. We all know what they were doing.
Right.
They were jingling them bells. Right.
That's right.
That's undeniable.
They was ringing in the New Year, brother. They was ringing in the New Year.
That's what I'm talking about.
Under the mistletoe.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Charles, before we get into how you and Marcus Coleman met, they need to know who you are. So tell them real quick, you know, just real briefly, who you are and who you've worked with.
Well, you know, Marcus started playing trumpet. That was my first instrument. Trumpet. I played that for 9. I played the trumpet for 9 years. And the reason why I played
about that, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, remember I was telling you some stuff I didn't know about Benjamin Wright. So you know, we always, you know, it's just amazing. So my mother, a mezzo soprano for the L.A. Phil. So when Marcus was talking about the where was the place you were talking about, Marcus? Where
the Composers
worship? No, the Shrine. The Shrine.
Oh, the Shrine.
So
yeah.
My mother would do concerts at the Shrine, the Hollywood Bowl, the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, all the time. So I'm very familiar with the Shrine. And then the year that Gladys Knight saluted Curtis Mayfield after he had his accident, I was in the house orchestra for that. I think that was the year that Biggie got killed. So whatever year that is.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah.
That's a Shrine.
Anyway, I started playing trumpet, and I was really good at trumpet. I thought I was going to be this classical trumpet player because I had it in through my mother, with the LA Philharmonic. Then I saw a thing of Jimi Hendrix, and I saw Jimi Hendrix lick his tongue out. I saw the way the women reacted, and I'm like, I'm playing the wrong instrument. Because I was thinking I can't lick my tongue out while I'm playing. So, not with a mouthpiece in my mouth. So, so, and then my uncle,
that was it,
who played trombone for Count Basie's band, Benny Powell. He hadn't moved out here yet, and once Count Basie died, he joined Merv Griffin, and then when all the Johnny Carson and Merv Griffin and Dick Cavett, when they all moved out here, that's when I met my, start hanging out with my uncle. And so then I started playing guitar. My mother was mad that I stopped playing trumpet. My uncle was telling her that I could really play. And, don't worry about it. He's going to be okay. And then I got a call from this producer at Motown. He says, man, I hear you can play rock guitar. I need you to come play this line, and I heard you can read. I've got a demo that I'm doing on Marvin Gaye. So I go down to the studio called Quad Tech, which is right off of 6th and Western. And I go and I do this session. He's like, man, you can play, man. I'm going to tell all the producers at Motown about you. I'm like, okay. So all of a sudden, I started Fairfax High School, and I'm getting calls to be down at Mo West. And so my counselor calls me in and asks me, why am I missing school? I said, well, I'm down at Motown. So, of course, they didn't believe me. So they say, well, we need something on a letterhead from Motown telling us that you're down there. So I go to Smokey Robinson and I say, hey, Smokey, I'm missing school because I'm only 15 years old, but my counselor said I need something on a letterhead. He says, oh, okay, baby, I'll do that for you. So now I'm not even thinking about that. Smokey Robinson is writing this letter, So when I bring this letter into my counselor, they're like, oh, my God, let's make a photocopy of the letter. I'm like, I'm not realizing that Smokey Robinson signed the letter. Then when I looked, I didn't even realize that Smokey Robinson was senior vice president of Motown, right? I mean, I just knew Smokey Robinson as a singer and a songwriter. And so, that's how it started. Then I went from there to play with Barry White. And, that was incredible because I got to co-write songs with him. And I got to look at the master scores. And Marcus knows what a master score is. So when you talk about scoring, it has all of the instruments.
Right, correct.
So I could see line by line why Gene Page would use a piccolo for only 2 bars,
right.
Or use an oboe. So, and Barry White, God rest his soul, he was so gracious is that he gave me these scores. This is hundreds of thousands of dollars of music that I had at my disposal that I just studied. I studied. And I was already playing on the road with him. Then I told him, I said, I'm going to start doing these sessions, and we're going to write songs together. And that dream came true. Then Ray Parker was putting a band together, and I was doing a session out at this studio called Kendon. And this woman named Carol Pincus that worked with Clive Davis, you know, she came and talked to me about the band, and I did that radio for 3 years, and I was building up my resume as a songwriter, and, you know, I'm co-writing songs, you know, with Verdine White and Maurice White and Robert, you know, that whole Earth and Fire connection, you know, and then after I leave radio, Ndugu and Reggie had started a production company, so I was doing all of their sessions, and then Ndugu gets into Crusaders, and he's like, hey, man, I want you to come down to Conway and just play this chart. That's all I need you to do. I'm like, okay. So I played the chart, and I'm, you know, and Marcus, you know how I do. I'm improvising and doing my whole thing. And then Joe Sample, he stutters like me, and he says, man, you can play. And so Ndugu was like, man, he can sing. He can play classical. He can play flamenco. He can play anything. I mean, he can just play anything. So then I was in the Crusaders for 2.5 years, and that was incredible because I did a solo. Joe asked me to do a solo, and I did a solo. And Joe Sample says to me, brother, you don't sound free. He said, you just don't sound free. So for the next 2.5+ years, every Friday, I would get with Joe Sample uninterrupted for 2 to 3 hours. And we would just play. He would say, man, all of those blue notes in jazz, he said, this is about how you recover. He said, see, John Coltrane and Miles Davis, they can go out because they know how to come back in. So all of a sudden, one day, you know, and, you know, I used to always try to look at his left hand so I could see what key he was in. He says, man, just turn your back. Turn your back. Don't even look at me. Just listen. Don't look. Just play. And one day, the light came on, and he said, brother, now you're free. And, man, I ran to my friend's house. I said, dude, play anything. And he started playing. I'm sober. He says, oh, my God. I'm like, yeah, man. Now let's play Giant Steps. And he couldn't even play Giant Steps. So I started playing Giant Steps, comping in between, you know, because Giant Steps, and Marcus can tell you, that is the one jazz song that if you can solo through those changes.
It's difficult, yeah.
If you can solo through those changes and not play the same thing every time, you arrive as a solo.
So how did you and Marcus actually meet? How did y'all come?
Okay. So Kurt Farquhar. I met Kurt Farquhar in the mid to late 70s. Kurt was an incredible drummer, right? Mm-hmm. So I got Kurt a couple of sessions, and we became friends, and he told me he was going to get into TV and film because his brother, who is now a big-time executive producer, now he was a writer for the show Happy Days. He was one of the writers. Ralph Farquhar. So his brother is Ralph Farquhar. So when Ralph became a producer, he gave all of the jobs to Kurt. So because I helped Kurt out, get him a couple of sessions, I would do all of these sessions for Kurt. And back then, everything was live. So that was Sinbad, Sister Sister. I mean, shows like that. We did Soul Food.
Was it Magnum PI? Was that Magnum PI was going on?
No. That wasn't Kurt. But so then what happened was Kurt knew that I knew all of the really, really good musicians. So he says, hey, Charles, I need you to go to this guy's house. His name is Marcus Coleman, and just kind of take him through the thing because I need to know, if he can really play. So I call Marcus up and hey, man, we talk, and I go to Marcus's house, and first of all, I realized that Marcus is an incredible human being. That's the first thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's a family guy, and sure, he can play and he can read and he could do all of that stuff, but his integrity in terms of just being a human being was intact. So I go back and I say, Kurt, this dude is the truth, but Kurt, he's a nice guy. Don't F him. Don't do that. So I went back to Marcus and I said, Marcus, look, this is the script that this guy plays, okay? So here's the thing. You already know what's happening, so use this as a vehicle for on-the-job training on some hit TV shows. That's what you need to do. Then, and because one of the executive producers on GirlFriends, because remember, GirlFriends was a Kelsey Grammer show.
Right.
Kelsey Grammer was one of the main. So GirlFriends, besides the fact that Tracy Ellis was Diana Ross's daughter, that show was very well funded, and one of the executive producers, she was a female, she had a crush on me, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, every time we'd have a rap party at the end of the season, you know, because at that point I'm doing part of the Parkers, part of Moesha. We had just stopped doing Sister Sister. We're doing GirlFriends. I'm trying to think of some of the other shows. I did a couple of one-on-ones, and, you know, that whole Kurt was doing about 10 to 15 shows.
UPN channels, like UPN shows, right?
Yeah.
PWUP.
Montel Williams has started this show on CBS called Matt Waters. We did that.
Matt Waters, that's what I was thinking of.
Right. Matt Waters. We did Matt Waters. And so as I start doing GirlFriends with Marcus, you know, of course, I'm seeing Marcus like every week now. We just get tighter and tighter, and you know, and I keep reemphasizing to Marcus, you know, because he's getting frustrated. I said, Marcus, remember what I told you from the beginning. This is to get your skill set up, because this is like, you know, that hourglass. You know what I'm saying? You know, when Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz was freaking out. Okay, the salt's gonna go to the bottom, but when it hits rock bottom, guess what? You're ready to take off and fly, because you would have gone to graduate school, and you have something to talk about, and everybody in the industry already knows what the script is on this guy, so you're gonna be good. You know, and
so why were you? I'm sorry to interrupt you. So Marcus, why were you becoming uptight?
Because it's you gotta understand, man. This guy would go and in your face while you're sitting there tell everybody that he did your work. That he would just like we were having a he had just bought this mansion thingy over in. What's that area, Charles? San Marino. San Marino is like upscale suburb inside of Pasadena. Upscale. I'm talking about real upscale. Like you go up in there, all the houses are mansions, right? So I go over there, you know, and he's, you know, bragging about his house, you know. Then like right after that, he goes into the room and he pulls out this BMI award. And it says, and on it says for the work he did on GirlFriends. It's a BMI award that he did for the work that he did on GirlFriends. And he says, look what I achieved. And I want to cuss so bad, because basically he could lie to himself so good, they gave him an award. You know what I'm talking about, Charles? With BMI, it's like a little glass award.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. The work it had his name on it?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And so basically he was taking the credit for all the musicians' work, and he never really let the people know who was really doing the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's when it really, that was the first time. There were like 5 or 6 other times where he would just blatantly lie. And, you know, while I was sitting there getting frustrated, I was also getting tired. Just tired of having to jump through these ridiculous hoops. But I had an agenda, and the moment I got where I wanted to get to, I definitely jumped ship. But before that, it was, man, this guy is the absolute, to me, he is the absolute worst human being I've ever met in my life.
So did his brother know that y'all was doing all the work?
I don't know, Charles, what do you think?
I doubt it, because, see, what his brother would do, his brother would get the show and say, hey, Kurt, you're going to do the music. So Kurt always had an in into doing the music because his brother was running the shows. You see what I'm saying? So here's the thing. In TV and film, as long as you're getting the work done, they don't care how you get it done.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Now, because of the status that I have and that I had at that time, whether it was Reggie Wilson over at Disney, who was then the executive vice president of TV and film. Matter of fact, I met him on a Sinbad session at Capitol Records, and this little short black guy walks up to me and says, man, I love the way your guitar sounds, and you can really play, but I've never heard of you. And my little ego, I'm like, dude, I'm the king of records, brother. If you look at the top 40, I'm on like 25 or 26 of the records that's on the top 40, and I probably co-wrote 10 of them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So then he tells me, oh, you know, you need to come to my office. I'm like, man, I'm a record guy. He's like, well, just come to my office. So I realized that Reggie, not only is he senior vice president, but he's booking all the sessions for Disney, for Touchstone, and Buena Vista. That's all the Disney. So that's all the TV shows. That's everything. So my first job with Reggie was he hooked me up with Mark Shaman, who's an incredible composer, and says, man, the style of the way you write, you and Mark Shaman need to get together because we need a couple of these songs for this movie that we're doing called James and the Giant Peach. Okay? So that was another lane for me to get into that aspect of, you know, composing and, you know, working with a top composer. You see what I'm saying? And
right.
But to go back to your answer, you know, as long as somebody's getting the job done, and see, and what I was trying to encourage Kurt to do, because he had so many shows he was doing. I was telling him he should do what this big time composer named Mike Post does. Okay, what Mike Post does, he goes out and gets all of these young lions like Marcus and myself, and he'll say, hey, look, you know, I need you to come write for this show. You know, I'm going to give you 40% of what I make, and I'm going to give you credit. Of course, my name's going to go first. Then eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give you the show. You're going to write all the cues, but I'm going to keep the theme song. So Mike had all these people that loved to work with him because not only were they, I mean, you know, Mike was getting $400,000 per episode because the first time I worked with him, I did Hill Street Blues, and he was doing 6 shows. So you do 400,000 times 6 times 26 in a season and see what you come up with. So, you know, so I was trying to encourage Kurt, you know, do it like this. Then you build a stable of unbelievable guys that you have that you don't burn, that are loyal. But that didn't go anywhere. And so what I did is I was doing a session for Kurt, and he wanted because the acoustic guitar that I used for Girlfriends, I had also used it for Soul Food. So he was like, "Hey man, I need that style that you write, when you." So I go to this studio and I'm putting the guitars down and this song that I've composed, and then when we get to the songwriters agreement, he goes south on me. So I just walk over to Pro Tools and I erased it and I said, "Look, man, I'm out." See, what he didn't know is that I was getting hired at Def Jam and was going to move to Miami. So it didn't even matter. So at the rap party, remember this executive producer that I told you she liked me? I said, "Hey, you know what? I'm leaving." And see, one of the problems with me leaving was between what Marcus and I were doing. When we were doing Girlfriends, every year the music got an award. Every year.
Right. That's
because
the
Marcus.
See?
Yeah, because Marcus and I were so focused and so locked in on what we were doing between my guitar and him building the music up. It was just like so. So I called Marcus. I say, "Marcus, I'm leaving." And he says, "Oh man, I don't know what Kurt's gonna do." I said, "Well, he'll probably get another guitarist, but he ain't gonna get what I get." And that following year, guess what? Girlfriends didn't win an award for the music.
So, so we know that Girlfriend. I'm sorry. So we know that Girlfriends is back on Netflix. So my question is, because I'm thinking they're still using the same theme song and everything. So are y'all getting credit for royalty for that?
The theme song was written by Angie Stone.
I didn't know
that. Theme song, that theme song is written by Angie Stone. That's her singing it, and that she wrote that. That was, and you got to remember, I came into Girlfriends when Gigi got fired.
Right.
Okay.
Gigi Harbor was the one. Okay, so Gigi was the guy that did the Proud Family theme, and Kurt messed him over.
So Kurt was just messing everybody up. He was just acting a fool. He just that's not even good karma.
Right.
I'm sure.
Right.
So I wish we had like another hour. We need a whole show to go into everything with y'all because that's just deep.
Yeah, this is a lot right there. We need that.
So I have to pass by this part, even though it's the juicy part, because I want to get to the school that
Inland Conservatory Performing Arts.
Yeah, so I want to get into that real quick, and then also, real quick, what you're doing, because we have like 6 minutes left, so 3 minutes each. If y'all could please, starting with you, Mr. Coleman, if you could just kind of tell them a little bit about the school and the the website and everything and what you're doing right now. And then, 3 minutes for Charles to kind of tell us a little bit about what he's doing, because I know he got some stuff coming on.
Okay, cool. 3 minutes. I run the Inland Conservatory for Performing Arts. It is a academic and performing arts school a la Fame from the TV show. We do grades 3 through 12. The kids are immersed daily in music, dance, acting, and visual arts, as well as their academic math, science, history, every day. And that's what I do. I run the school.
So if someone wanted to get into your school, what would they need to do?
Fill out the application and come talk to me. Application can be found www.icpa-ca.com.
Okay. So basically, even though they tried to mess you over, what Charles said was right, because you were able to move on and start your own school that's very successful in California.
Absolutely.
So it worked out for your favor,
right?
Even though you had to go through your hardship.
Right. He just made the mistake of thinking I was regular. Ain't nothing about me regular.
Let me just interject one thing. The best revenge is success.
Right.
Because when you go out and you're successful, you don't have to say anything. Okay?
Don't say nothing.
Everybody already knows.
Yep.
Everybody already knows.
Yep.
Everybody already
and then, and then they start singing that if I woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
If I woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Yeah.
So, jumping over to Charles real quick, because I want him to also. So, Charles, what's your new project? Because I think you got a Broadway play or something coming up, right?
Yes, and it's about the great jazz singer Joe Williams, and Keith David is going to play the actor. Keith David is going to be Joe Williams, and it's a 7-piece band rhythm section with 3 horns. And the music director is the same music director, because I did a play 3 years ago at the Pasadena Playhouse about Sister Rosetta Tharpe. So, and that was fun, because that was like going to church and choir rehearsal every day. And I cried on stage every day, because Marcus, they singing all those old songs, The Lord or Make a Way. And I'm sitting up there crying, and everybody doesn't know I'm crying because I'm sweating. But so I'm working on that. And I've got a new TV show that I'm working on about my career. So I'm real excited about that. Because I work with quite a few people, and in all different genres of music, and so
and you did something with Regina King too, right? You did something with Regina King.
What's that?
Is it Regina King? Regina King.
With who?
Well, what's the
Regina King, the actress?
Yeah.
Yes. We just finished the Sam Cooke movie. It's called One Night in Miami, and we recorded that at Capitol Records. And Regina King, I took my son Alex, and this is live. And I was telling Alex, I said, Alex, this studio here, a black man, and he already knows who Nat King Cole is. I said, Nat King Cole's money built this whole building, not just a studio.
That's right.
Because they call Capitol Records. They call Capitol Records the house that Nat built.
Wow.
And I let him know how important this place is, not only for Sam Cooke, who was also an iconic figure, but this whole building, a black man's success built this building. Right. That's
so we are running. I don't want Blog Talk cuts me off sometimes. Like I could be saying I love click, and I don't want to do that. So we got like 27 seconds left. But I know that you can follow Marcus Coleman on Facebook. I believe you're at it's Marcus Coleman, right?
Right, correct.
And then Charles, yours is Charles Fearing. What's yours for Facebook?
It's Charles Julian Fearing, and that's fearing like you're fearing God or you're fearing for your life or both. So however you want to take it, that's how it is.
We gotta have another show with y'all. We ain't gonna because we ain't get to get into everything. We only had an hour and we're so quick. Usually I didn't play music. I ain't had time for none of that because I wanted to get in.
It was good.
So I loved it.
The history of it was just so like, man, I just wanted to listen.
Yes, I loved it. So happy birthday to you, Charles. And
man, Charles,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marcus.
And let me just say one thing. I love Marcus Coleman. I love
you too, brother.
Yeah, I
love you too, brother.
But I love Marcus Coleman, and I love his family. I love Marcus Coleman.
Love you, brother.
That's my guy.
You know what? When I was doing a conference call with each one of you individually, you both said the same thing about each other. So that's beautiful. And just the fact that you called in and y'all were able to share this story with us, we appreciate y'all so much. You know what I'm saying? And I'm so happy to have gotten to interview you. Hopefully I can catch y'all again because y'all busy men. You know what I'm saying? Hope y'all be able to catch you again.
Well, invite me back and I'll come back.
Oh, right. Love it. So you have just listened to Marcus Coleman and Charles Fearing just get on there and talk about, what's really going on, and the fact that they didn't even get the credit that they really need. Y'all need an unsung of y'all own. Yes. Peace and love to both of you and your families.
Absolutely.
Stay safe out there. And we wish you many, many blessings. And one day maybe y'all do a show on us, On The Move Unscripted.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all both.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, y'all. You have just listened to an episode of On The Move Unscripted. We thank y'all. We love y'all. Yes. And definitely, come back again.
We have the Corey Palmer.
Yes. Happy birthday to Charles.
Amayah, too, for the book.
Oh, yes. Corey Palmer. Yes, everybody. We love y'all. Peace and love to y'all.
Josh X. All right now.
Your love makes me an addict for you, babe. What you say? Oh, girl, I got to have it. Your body's more than average, drives me crazy. What you say? Girl, your eyes, your smile, your body, girl. Girl, I can't give it up. Oh, heaven comes to my mind. Girl, when I see your face, set me on a one-way flight. Girl, 'cause I'm on my way.
It's like magic when we come around. Baby, we the baddest that ever touched the sound. You treat me like a queen, 'cause you know I hold it down. And he always keep it real, he my king, he got the crown. I saw the time is so right, I think he got me tonight. I know we've been through so much, but true love is a fight. And he ain't never got a question, nothing that I do. And I don't care if you go to jail, I'm so down with you.
You must be tired of him always cheating constantly. That's why I got you out here out with me. So take my hand, you don't gotta fuck with love in the name you deserve what you want. Heaven comes to my mind, girl, when I your face, set me on a one-way flight, girl, 'cause I'm on my way. Just know I will chase you to the end of the world, okay? 'Cause I believe in love, for sure. I will do everything that he didn't wanna do, girl. 'Cause I believe in us. You must be tired of him always cheating constantly. That's why I got you out here out with me. So take my hand, you don't gotta fuck with love in the name you deserve what you want. Heaven comes to my mind, when I see your face, when I see your love, set me on a one-way flight, girl, 'cause I'm my way.
Two-step with me, yeah. Two-step with me. KSR. Whoa.